Howdy, hello, it's Monday. We're back here at Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes, 30, 40, an hour. I don't know. You guys just, chop up some time in your calendar because, we're always running late. But today we're actually early, so I'm very proud of us. I'm very proud of my dear and kindest co-host, Ms. Miller, Ashley. Great American Talent.
Hello,
there she
everyone.
is. She did bring a guest today, do you want to introduce our guest today, Miss?
So we have Shyla, who I met through our BNI group, Business Network International. And, there's an interesting thing to say through BNI. A lot of people are believers and a lot of people aren't. But when you meet somebody as amazing as...
We're getting there.
Shyla, she's just incredible.
So what was her name? We would love to introduce...
Shyla. I don't know how to say your last name.
Bassy.
There we go. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for the cheers to come in. Oh God, it took so long.
I know. So sorry,
I was on pins and needles waiting for the cheers.
She's just so awesome, and the introduction could go on and on and on. But me, I can, but I won't. So I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone. I'm just so excited. There's so much content. I'm like giddy right now, like a little kid.
So we will allow Miss Shyla to introduce herself. I want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button. As you're on YouTube right now, we appreciate it, the love and support. But Miss Shyla, I will leave you the floor to explain who and why you're here, Miss.
Yes. Well, hello, good afternoon. Shyla Bassy, Arizona native, but I'm partnered with an incredible company. I know, it's rare.
I'm a native too. Oh my gosh, we just became best friends.
We are.
Oh boy.
Here's the thing, I'm from Tucson.
Well, my family's from Cornville.
Exactly. That's what happened. She's from Cornville.
Well, of course, I gotta tell you.
This is Shyla's time. Give her 2 seconds.
Well, I gotta tell you, leaving Tucson, I did come up here to go to Arizona State University, so I did go to the rival school. But I'm super excited today to represent United Wealth Education. Hey, we gotta celebrate that. Go Sun Devils. And one of the biggest things that's so important to us is we are here to ensure that every client has the ability to not only have their purchasing power, but really can walk away having the best credit to buy anything that they want. And so I'm on an important mission to impact more people to know that credit is power, and you can actually be able to buy anything you want when you have a good credit score.
Man, she is so poised. I like that.
I know.
I commented on that earlier. She's on it. She's very confident, very to the point. But yeah, we're here to talk about credit and the impacts on the housing market. I'm starting to see, the impact and the projection forward. So in real estate, you're not only just looking at today, but you're also trying to assess, what tomorrow and the next 6 months, the next year are, because you want to be able to articulate that back to your clients and share with them what you know and the future. Obviously, you want to, make sure that their situation not only today is good, they win a house, they sell their house, but in the future that was a good decision at the time. So with credit, I do foresee some opportunities coming in the housing market, especially with what we got today. Mm-hmm. Some information just hot off the presses, and it's very important that we talk about credit today. So the first thing, credit-wise, we're talking about calculating your credit. How do we do that, Ms.?
Oh, I love talking about this because most of us didn't learn about how credit was calculated in our formal education. And there's 5 factors that create our credit scores. 5 of them, and they're all important.
Make sure you get your pens out.
The first one is your payment history. Yeah. Payment history makes up 35% of your credit score. And given all that's taken place in the last few years, most don't know that just one late payment has the ability to bring a credit score down up to 120 points.
Holy guacamole.
Just one. And so that factor is crucial.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, most of the times when there's negative things that have affected our credit, they're hitting that first factor, payment history, 35%. Second factor, your utilization makes up 30% of your credit score. So here's a quick tip. If you have any credit card balances, let's just say you got a credit card balance that's $1,000, you want to make sure you stay below 30% of that utilization. You don't want to spend past $300 because once you pass that, that's where your credit score can actually drop.
Can I interject here for 1 second? So I had gotten a credit card. So I'm almost 40, and I got my first credit card at 36. Mm-hmm. I got a credit card. I was like, yes. Well, I didn't use it. I didn't utilize it at all. So that is a negative impact as well. So let's talk about that for one hot minute, because that's your number 2.
That's hitching the toe to the truck.
We have to. And it's so interesting because oftentimes if you don't have a credit score, utilization is crucial to even just have a credit card open, because there's so many points that are connected just to utilization that if you don't even have a card, you'll never get those points. You never will. And so that's why utilization is so, so crucial. And we'll definitely talk more about it. And I'll tell you the third factor, that's your length of credit. 15%.
So length, you mean time, not
time.
Okay.
Yeah, time. And so I recently had someone ask me, hey, Shiloh, I've got all these credit cards I've had for the last 10, 15 years, but I'm not using them. Should I close them? And I said, oh, absolutely not. Because as soon as you close those cards, you're also closing the history connected to your credit. So you could have had that card 10 years. As soon as you close it, it's no longer reporting. Yeah. So that history is now gone, and your average of time is now been reduced.
Interesting.
So length of credit is so, 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 so important. And I want to add one more thought on that, because a lot of times if you have any loans, once you pay the loan off, the account closes. So now your history also is shortened because that account's no longer open.
What about cars?
Same thing.
Well, those are installment loans, right?
They are installment loans. And a lot of times, right, 3 to 5 years for the average installment loan. Once that account's paid off, it's closed. It's no longer reporting. So that age is no longer there to reflect. So even auto loans can impact your history, your overall history.
Impact history. Okay.
Yep.
So, and you're a real estate agent yourself, right?
I am.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It says it on her. Look at. Well, hold on.
Well, clearly I didn't know.
Oh my gosh. The reason I know is because on her Facebook. So if you guys, are interested in what Shyla is talking about, let me get Shyla's face out of her face. She's right there. I had her covering up her face. Shyla's Facebook is right there. And if you look at her profile, what does it say right underneath her?
I'm a realtor. So clearly I didn't do my recon.
That's all good.
Silly.
I just appreciate you.
I love it.
But no, so I wanted to point that out. And having that kind of background, or at least the license there, gives you kind of a unique perspective on obviously giving information to clients and buyers. Do you work mostly with buyers or
mainly
sellers?
buyers, primarily because of a lot of the clients that I'm helping with the credit services. That is their goal, is to prepare for home ownership.
Yeah, and you do work for a company, right? United Wealth
Education.
Yeah. And your primary focus there is to help people build their credit. And we talked a little bit, off the show, and there's various reasons why people, want to get their credit repaired or at least in a good situation. But your primary focus has always been houses, right? That's about 80% of your business?
Well, believe it or not, I'm actually swapped the opposite direction. I spend even more time qualifying clients to refer their business right back out. So whether that's helping them to get right back with the lender, getting them right back with the referral partner that sent them to me, it's just been so many clients that need the help to improve their finances that my business has shifted directly to referral business. But I do get an opportunity to help a lot of my buyers who are here local that have been referred to me to help them in that journey to get prepared for home ownership.
Does it cost anything to inquire, or at least because a lot of the reason people have poor credit situations is because they made some poor decisions. I mean, that's really at the end of it, they got.
I'm gonna interject here.
Why?
100%, because I
married the wrong person, and she gave me a bad credit history.
I didn't
that was a bad decision.
Poor credit. Yeah. I just didn't have the right credit. I had a lot of medical bills, which a lot of you guys who follow me know about my medical stuff. So I had a lot of medical expenses. I've owned probably more cars than I'd like to admit, but I would buy them and pay them off, Yeah. So that's why I was intrigued about that, because I didn't realize how much that impacted it. But I never had a credit card. So I wasn't a poor buyer. Like nothing was negative as far as I did not pay. But I had so much medical debt that just destroyed me. And I thought, I have an installment loans. I paid off all my vehicles. I've never had it late. Why is my credit not high? And you hear the rumor, medical expenses don't count against you. Wah, wah, wah.
And it's so interesting, especially with medical bills. I recognize they don't impact the buying process from a lender's perspective, but what they can impact a lot of times is the score. Because if that missed payment is there, it is reflecting and impacting the score on the credit report.
Well, it's not necessarily a missed payment on medical bills. It's just it's you all of a sudden you get this bill. Like, for instance, this is a perfect example, actually. Most recently, I have health insurance, right? And my doctor was sending me to LabCorp to get all my tests done. Went into LabCorp. Like, where I was like, oh, yeah. They're like, oh, you have a past due bill for like $400. I'm like, okay, I'll pay this off. I'm like, do I owe you anything today? Oh, no, we'll get back to you. I get a bill in the mail for $4,000. They don't take my insurance. Oh, sorry. We recently stopped taking it. And I'm like, well, when? They're like, and it was before the date of, I asked them when. Like, I was like, well, wait a second. I was just in there. So the date of service, but you stopped taking my insurance before the date of service. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, wasn't there a law change or something recently where?
Well, I'm about to lose my.
Shiznets? No.
Yeah, I'm about to lose it.
But as far as like mortgages
Without
go.
my
yeah. But as far as mortgages go, is there, I don't know if it was a recent law or federal law, whatever it was, where they're not discontinuing using your medical credit or medical debt against you in a mortgage situation?
There actually was something that recently passed that's starting even this summer. That if there's any medical bills that are below, I believe it's $500 or $600, if they're below that, they will no longer report them to the credit bureaus because there are so many millions of Americans that's what's impacting their score. Well,
especially COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the COVID, nobody can buy a house otherwise.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because that's oftentimes one of the easiest things for our clients to get removed from their credit because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act and then HIPAA. It's the hardest thing to get verified when it comes to credit agencies verifying that with of course, a doctor. They're not going to disclose this is why they were there, but it is oftentimes an easier item to get removed. But that did just pass to help more Americans not have to worry about that debt being reported to the credit bureaus.
So that's just another reason to call you because that's it. It's
Shiloh.
Such a big deal.
We all need a Shiloh in our life.
So the whole purpose of the conversation was because you're like making poor decisions. I didn't make a poor decision to get ill.
True.
I had an insurance company and I had a company that told me that they took my insurance when they really didn't. And all of a sudden they're like, well, it's your fault for not researching. I'm like, I mean, like, I'm not naive. So that was one, but there was another one. You said there's 5. You had 1, 2, 3. So what's the 4th?
So we ended on length of history. So the 4th one is inquiries. Inquiries makes up 10% of your score. And I hear it all the time. Well, man, I got so many inquiries on my credit report. And a lot of times I'm like, that's not the main reason why your credit score might be low. So inquiries is 10%, primarily hard inquiries. Yeah. When you're applying for a loan in any capacity, that's where those hard inquiries come in.
As far as like because the hesitation I get, when people are saying they don't want to apply for a loan or home loan, it's because, well, it'll take a hit on my credit report or credit history or whatever. And I'm like, I don't believe it does. And if it did, it wouldn't be that many. It's not a car where if you go and purchase a car, they usually do the deal between you and the car dealership. And so they try to fish that deal with multiple banks and multiple different credit unions. And so they're going after I would say 10 to 20 different places to see if they can get that deal or to get a bank to accept the deal they just negotiated. And that's when I think that's what a lot of people remember regarding their credit score when they go to a car dealership and it's impacted 80 points because the car dealer was shopping around looking for points. Yes,
that's a question that I want to ask you because this is when we bought my the one rider vehicle, they were in a shop and I said I wanted to actually go to our own credit union. I'm like, you know what? I'll allow you to shop as long as when you shop they're not re-pulling my credit. So there's options.
Right? You can make that request?
You can. I've learned this. You can make the request to have them shop based upon they will actually use the car dealership's credit report that they pulled themselves versus allowing them to give out your personal information to re-pull and do more inquiries.
Yeah, and even just on that note, that's a nugget that most just have no idea. And I'm sure every dealership, they're not leading with that. Okay. But one of the things that I could highly recommend is get approved before you go into a car dealership. So that you walk in already knowing what you're qualified for. And then your credit doesn't have to necessarily be ran by all the different agencies.
Ashley likes her nuggets.
No, but I know that's a great idea, getting approved before, but just like a home.
Yep.
No real estate agent is going to go take you out to a $1 million home if you're only approved for $500,000.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not supposed to?
My
bad.
But I'll tell you, it's so funny because I could talk about vehicles from that standpoint as far as credit, because one of the things I always say is don't find yourself driving a Toyota Camry with a Mercedes-Benz payment because of credit. And that happens so often.
Well, I do see that. I mean, most of the interest rates on cars, I had a friend that, because he was in a situation, I would say it's a poor decision, but it was a decision based on circumstance too. He went and bought a car. I mean, it was only like a $3,000 or $4,000 car, and he was just stuck at a dealership. He didn't have a car to go drive to another one, so he ended up purchasing, I think it was like $4,000, but his interest rate was like almost 19%. Which is,
disparity.
Not the best decision. But again, if you're like, I don't have a car, I'm in a situation, I can't drive to another dealership to compare this, I just need that vehicle to get around. Right. You end up signing things and don't really understand the ramifications, the long-term aspects of having something like a 19% interest rate on $4,000, what that means.
Well, one of the things like we talked about, like poor preparation or proper preparation prevents poor performance.
If you want to watch the P video, we have that from several videos ago.
But the tendency of our universe, the universe has a tendency to control us, and we fail to take control of it. And that's why we need somebody like you out there who can advocate for us in a sense that not only advocate, but direct us and educate us on how to, there's a few nuggets that I've already learned about. Get pre-approved before then. The closing, the vehicles, the utilization. I do. I love the little nuggets. I'm excited to hear about number 5, actually.
Yeah, so the fifth factor is your credit mix, and that's the last 10%. There's 2. Yeah, got to mix it up. Got to mix it up on your credit report.
You missed Ashley's dance.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Shiloh.
That's all right. It's 2 primary types of credit that we have. We've got installment loans, which would be like that auto loan or a mortgage that's on your credit report. And then you've got revolving, which would be like a credit card. I always say you can use it, pay it down, use it, pay it off. You always have access to it. But those are the 2 primary types of credit. And all 5 of those together, that's what creates our credit scores. I like to say it's the adult report card that we have today. Are we proud of it? Did we have an A?
You hide it. I don't want to look at it.
So as we're wrapping up the credit section of the day, I mean, it goes fast. We've already been on 20 minutes. Can you believe that, show? Is there anything, as far as your experience goes, and we're going to put your contact information before we get into the market stats. Is there anything, given your experience, that you really tell people, hey, this is what you need to focus in on? This is what, from what I'm seeing, this is kind of something in the market. Whatever, you know what I mean. Do you have something that you need to say right now?
I got to say it. So I'll tell you all this. 3 out of 4 credit reports have some type of error on them. And whether that's connected to an old address, an old phone number, any derogatory remark or obsolete piece of information on your credit, it can be permanently disputed for deletion. And that is an incredible resource that I have available to help people all over to be able to get their buying power back. But I'll tell you, first step, take a look at your credit report. I can guarantee you there's something on there that's not supposed to be, and we can take the time to review that to make sure you're back on track.
Well, what is your suggestion of where they can actually take a look at that? Can they reach out to you? I know there's a few free sites that.
Well, you connect with Shiloh on Facebook first, so we're going to do that. So anybody on Facebook right now that wants to connect with Shiloh, go ahead over there to profile.php or just type in Shiloh Bassett. I mean, whatever. I try to pull up the profile thing, but Shiloh's there, and you can see her wonderfully smiling face. Who did your photo, by the way? That looks really good.
Ooh, yeah. So it was actually a friend. He's actually out in New York. So he took those headshots for me.
So fancy.
I like it. Then there was also another website that you.
This is the app. Yeah, this is what I was kind of.
This is the website that you're referring people to go to, right?
Absolutely.
You want to talk about this for a second?
I would love to. So I would tell you, the biggest expense that many of us pay is where we live. And a lot of course, when we see what's happening in the market, many are renting. And we want to make sure that you are being rewarded for your good, positive rental history. And so we have an incredible resource that allows you to get your positive rental history added to your credit report. I'll tell you, when you miss a payment, guess what they add? If someone gets evicted, they add that immediately to your credit reports. And so with our tool, we're able to go back up to 2 years to get that positive history added to your credit reports. Don't let your good history go to waste. It can be added.
Yeah, especially if you've been paying on time. And if you're getting ready to purchase a home, I mean, that's something very key right now. Yeah. The way I see the market shifting, and I'll let you guys chime in, so thank you, Shelly. the way I see the market shifting, I do believe that we're kind of heading towards a buyer's market. In the fact that there's less buyers out there, there's more negotiating room. So the reason I bring this up, okay, so hot off the press. So I had a listing last week, and we had very, very low traffic. So low that it became concerning, and we've had discussions about that. But as I call the community, as I call the subdivision, there's roughly about 6 other houses around the same price, all seeing the same thing. And so that got me curious, and I started looking at reports and start seeing pullbacks on in the market. So I'm going to go ahead and put this first number up. So as I was looking under the prices under contract, you can kind of see at this peak right here. This was the peak in May 22nd. And as you see the dollar under contract. So these are houses going under contract, and these are dollar per square foot average in the area. So Maricopa County, single family residences, normal sales, all of Maricopa. What do you see right there? You see like a little bit of a what?
It's kind of like an incline, and it's like this.
It's starting to kind of pull back, as interest rates have risen over the last couple of months, approximately 2 points since January, probably just shy of that. We can pull up interest rates in a second. The particular zip code that I was looking at was 85388, which is surprise. And I can get into the nitty gritty of a lot of these reports, but with this particular zip code, I forgot to uncheck. This is live if you did not know. So 85388. If we go to that zip code, this is the zip code particular that I'm talking about that was a concern in the area that I listed the house. As you can see, the peak was right here in about March, and the dollar per square foot going under contract has been slowly declining overall. And you're starting to see this as I pull the reports, and I couldn't pull them all up here. You're starting to see more of this in your outlining areas. Prices are starting to come back and decrease in your outlining areas. It's still a very active market in town, in Phoenix, and closer into the cores like Chandler, Gilbert. But as you go out into Queen Creek, Florence, you start seeing this pullback in the market. So you're starting to see a lot of these price reductions or dollar per square foot going under contract starting to reduce and pull back.
Well, and that's why I think it's advantageous to have a better credit score. So as interest rates are going up, at 520 will give you the ability to purchase a home, but a higher interest rate. But then you get to a 680. So with purchasing a home, there's different increments. They go in segments. So 680 to basically like 720 and above. So you can actually change your interest rate by changing your credit score, which will give you the buying purchase a little bit higher.
Yeah,
so it's a game. It's like this game of Monopoly. Like, let's play it.
Let me see if I can pull that up too. So I'll let you guys talk while I pull up.
We have to understand our worth and what we're worth, and understand our value. So maybe it does cost money to watch and follow and fix our credit, but in the long run, gosh, it's going to save us so much more money. So stop allowing our economy to control how much money we're paying, and start allowing ourselves to take control.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And when I think about just the long term, when we think about investing in a purchase that's over the course of 30 years. We may not recognize that interest rate over time, that adds up. And so when I think about that investment to improve your credit, that's going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run.
It's a simple amortization schedule. You pulled that up many times when you go between a 6% and like a 5.5 or a 6 and a 5, which is so weird to say because interest rates are this high. So mind blowing. But that's a big deal. And that's a big deal between a 680 and a 721.
Yes. Well, that's exactly why I pulled up this the mortgage rates right now. So looking at about a $500,000 home with a 20% down. And let's say your credit score is not as nice as it should be. It's 640. You're looking at just over 6%, over 6.5% rate on a 30-year fixed. And this is average in Arizona, so there's going to be some that are lower and higher. But we're just, in terms of this show today, we're just
Does it show you how much you'll pay over the lifetime of the loan?
Oh, the mortgage amortization calculator?
Yeah. If it doesn't, it's okay.
Not at this venue, but what I did want to highlight, though, is that just taking your credit score up from a 640 to, let's say, let's do 700. Brings it down more than 0.8 points.
Yeah. And then do 720 or above, because that would be the ultimate American goal.
So we go 720, it's 5.5. If you go up to 740, you're just under 5.5. 760, You're just at 5.5. So 740 is really your target right now, based on this
Ideal,
situation.
yeah.
Right.
Talk to your lender. Talk to your financial advisor. Whoever is out
We
there.
are not financial advisors.
We are not financial advisors. So you take our advice at your own risk. But I mean, you're looking at credit scores roughly between half a point to a full point, and in just in that small amount. I mean, it seems very small in terms of like the figure, but in terms of monthly payment, that could be anywhere from like $200 to $300 a month. In terms of long-term pay off the debt or pay off the mortgage, you're looking at several $1,000s extra in the overall payment of the house.
Absolutely. And I'll just tell you, when I think about it, it's like so many are much closer to improving their credit scores than they really think. And sometimes it's the smallest steps that can make the biggest difference in the qualification process. Because I recognize in home ownership, there's really two primary things that are looked at: the credit score, debt to income ratio. And it's like, man, if I'm renting now, how do I prepare myself so that when my lease is up, it's the last thing I'm worried about is where is my credit score?
So with that being said, credit my rent is kind of like your tagline, from my understanding. I would love for you to maybe give like just a quick little
Snippet.
If I can do that, and how they can reach you, and turning that in so they can turn their rental into credit in order to purchase a property where they are going to be at that space where they're going to pay 5.4 versus 6. I don't know, was it 7?
It's a lot.
It's
very
substantial.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, we can go back up to 2 years, whether you've been renting in one location for 1 or even longer as far as years. We can go back up to 2 to get that positive history added to your credit report. It's a very simple verification process. No matter how you're currently paying your rent, we have a resource to be able to verify it and get that reported every single month. As I mentioned, 35% of your score is payment history. So the more good history you have on your credit report, the better. And this impacts a few of those 5 categories. Now it's a new trade line that impacts your credit mix. So I'll just tell you, it impacts a variety of those 5 factors. And a few ways to contact me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So a few ways to contact me.
I think Facebook is probably the primary one, right?
Yeah, Facebook is a great way to reach me, as well as I have my direct link, which you can also schedule consultations for us to have a conversation about where you are, what you're looking to accomplish, and how we can help you reach your desired scores. And so my email address, I can also share that, is...
I can add it into, actually on Facebook right now.
Absolutely. But bassysolutions@gmail.com. Also Bassy Solutions on Instagram.
I should have had the title ready, but I fail at life. We were rushing to get on. You know, we were excited that Shiloh was here, so we kind of jumped the gun.
Those are a few ways. I'm all about having a conversation. Like I said, there could be some simple things that can take your credit to an entirely new level, and that's our goal. We want to help you reach your goals, especially as we go into this space where you may want to be purchasing a home. We want to get you on track to do just that.
So just to make another point, just very more poignant. I've said that quite a bit today.
I know.
So
you're so on point, Robert.
So like because we were asking about an amortization calculator. I didn't do all that. I just did a quick mortgage calculator. Yeah. So going from a $500,000 home, 30-year fixed at a 5.5% rate. This is just rough math, right? We got about a $2,800 payment a month, $2,840, but just a 1 point increase in your interest rate. So that's just going up to $3,100. Just by 1 point.
So when people are like, oh, I cannot afford credit repair. Not to say it's even expensive, but everyone knows, oh, credit repair. Oh, I can't afford it. Wah. I'm sorry. Yes, you can.
Yep.
Well, yes, you don't want the payment. That's for sure.
Well, that's the thing. But if you take that payment and you reverse engineer it, you can afford it. Yeah. And it's worth all of it. Yeah. And I'm going to, I talk a lot, but I do want to ask you one question that is very pertinent, because we started off this way about credit education. I was raised cash is king. So I use credit cards. Like everyone knows, my audience, I was 36 years old when I got my first card, and it was very traumatic to me. So I made a decision to add, I have multiple credit cards to add each one of my boys who are teenagers. Well, actually, Colby's not. He's a tween. Onto them. And what is your opinion on the impact of adding your children onto your credit? Of course, I keep them, within your rules. Adding them on there isn't an.
Just don't give them a copy of the card.
No, they physically have the
Don't
card.
give them
No, they physically have it.
Put them on the account. Don't give them a card.
No, I get notification. I actually allow them to use it. And then they have to
do.
do chores to make money for me to pay it off. So, for example, they wanted to go get like Chipotle the other day. I'm like, all right, fine, you can get Chipotle, but like this X, Y, and Z needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I still pay with my own personal money. But in order for them to use the credit card, which is kind of a reverse like engineering this in psychology, is they get to use the credit card to get something they want, and they have to do me a favor, and I'm going to use my money to turn on and pay it off. So it's building their credit, building my credit, and I still get my weeds whacked in the backyard.
Win-win.
Is that a euphemism?
It's a win-win.
Is that a euphemism?
It might be. Kind of smart.
Do you like getting your weeds whacked? Call Ashley Miller, Great American Times. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
The point was understanding like with Kiyosaki and Ramsey, that is part of.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to the reason.
No, I know with Kiyosaki he teaches like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was raised in the mentality of being kind of like, I don't even know. I'm actually freaking confused. Like, I don't know if we were the rich people or if we were the poor people. I was like a tweener, but I'm raising my children in a different sense. So how would you suggest people to help educate, since money is not in our educational system, to raise their credit? Because we have a lot of kids that are coming out right now, going to college, and like, what does that look like to you?
Yeah. So many. One, kudos to you for taking that time to make sure your children are set up for success.
It's super annoying, by the way.
But seriously, it's one of the things when I think about it not being taught. Most of 18-year-olds are introduced to credit as soon as they get to college, right?
Because they get that.
Apply for this card, you get some pizza. Apply for this, you get this.
And they have it on campus.
All over the place. But there's
Get a credit card.
Formal education about it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best tips for any parents is add your children as authorized users. And the cool thing about it is you don't always have to give them a card.
Yeah, Colby doesn't have a card.
Yeah,
He's
don't
12.
give him a card.
You don't have to always give them a card, but what it sets them up for success is when they turn 18, now they can already get qualified. Most 18-year-olds, they want to buy a car, right?
Yeah.
They want to buy a car. Now they're going into it in a position to be able to buy their own vehicle because they have their own credit score.
Not financial advice, but that is good advice.
Well, I'm just saying because, like, a few of the things that I've been watching and learning through all this is because I didn't have the formal education is like knowing your worth, what you're worth, like how to set up your children. I mean, how to set up. If we don't even know how to like control our own credit, how are we going to teach our future to do that?
Yeah, I think the baseline of it is you really have to have your own behaviors regarding your own credit.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, it's almost like you can't be a good dad unless you learn how to like understand your emotions and how you're talking to your children. Very much the same way with credit. You really have to understand who you are as a person before you can be strong for somebody else. So if you don't have those behaviors, I don't think you're going to teach your kids.
Do you teach teenagers credit education?
So I'm always open to educating classes. We have already curriculum set up that can be brought into the classroom.
Like through church and stuff?
Churches.
Oh, I have so many ideas. Okay, we won't go on a tangent. I have so many ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're over on time, by the way. So we're.
But you know how I get.
We gotta
get
wrap
like,
it
so
up.
Excited.
Wrap it up,
I'm
Miller.
So excited. So we're wrapping this up. We have
Yes.
an amazing. Your 5 points were on point. No pun intended, but pun intended. I would love for us to be able to share these 5 points. I don't know what type of format you have them in. It's super awesome. There's some websites that you would share with all of us, and this is freaking cool.
She's like a volcano. She's just like,
I know.
I need all of it now. I'm just going. I'm going.
It's exciting. It's exciting, especially with what's happening in our economy right now.
Yeah.
Like educate.
Time
Knowledge,
is now.
knowledge.
Yeah, and I do think, like I said, as the market's shifting a little bit, it is very, you can see it, you can almost smell it, you can almost taste it. As we transition into this market, whatever it's going to be in the next 6 months, I think people having their credit in line, getting their finances really in line with the way the economy is going, you're going to need to leverage off that in a very significant way. And hopefully, you out there, you're not impacted by the things that are happening, by all the information that we're being bombarded with, that you're in a clear position. But credit at the end of the day will allow you to purchase other things at very lower rates than what normally other people would be exposed to.
Can you aim with your tagline?
I was
Are we
just
ending
going to say, more money, more purpose.
Oh,
Wait, mic
dang.
drop. Hold on.
Hey, don't drop that mic unless you're paying for it. So the last couple things I wanted to show, like I said, there is an increase in supply, so I did want to mention that real quick. We have basically almost doubled our month supply in just the last 2.5 or month and a half or so about 6 weeks. So we're looking at the lowest peak this year, half month supply in roughly April. We're looking at almost a full month supply in just a month. A little over a month. And you can see that too as we in our layman accounting, we like 3 weeks ago this was at 4,000. 2 weeks ago it was about 5,000. Now we're at 7,000 active or coming soon listings. So the supply is going up. So I do anticipate some seller FOMO in the air. People like just listing their house that have been waiting, for the top of the market. Well, if there was a top, this would be the top. If the Fed comes out, I believe next month and reports that they're going to increase the federal funds rate, I think it's over for sellers this year. It'll just cascade from there. That's just an opinion.
Not over.
Get up to the mic.
Just not over. Just
She's very relaxed over there.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Like realistic, like know like your worth. Like we got all so excited about the worth of our properties, and we became overzealous, and we became what's what I'm looking for? Basically, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. So we have to take ourselves back down to reality. And truly understand that our home is worth what it's worth. There is nothing in this life that is worth more than what somebody is willing to buy it for. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and I do believe that the negotiating power is starting to transition to buyers. You're starting to see buyers that are being a little bit more hesitant on making purchases. These are just normal people. I think investors are pulling out, knowing that this is the top of the market. Investors have started pulling out earlier this year, even though there's a few. The price point at 450, 460 and below is very still active. So if you're on that lower ring of pre-qualifying, then there's still an active market. But there is opportunity if you're in the 450 as a buyer and above right now. So if you're actively looking for a house in the 450 range, right now might be your time. So anything else? Do we have Miss Miller? Do you have anything yourself before we give the last word to Miss Shayla?
No, she's got it.
Last word, Miss Shayla. It is yours.
Well, I love saying this: cash is king, but also credit is power. And
we say credit is queen.
Ooh,
we do. We actually do.
That was our tagline from before. So.
Queen.
All right, cash is king, credit is queen.
Because the queen rules the house. You ever play a game of chess?
I have.
Oh, dang.
Oh, man, I'm walking away with that one.
This is Shayla's time, though. Shayla.
No, all good. So I'll just tell you all this. The time is now. The time is now. If you're in the market to purchase a home, don't let credit be the reason why you can't move forward. Please take the time to reach out, ask a question so that we can put you in the right position to reach your goals. And I'm super excited. Thank you for this incredible time to be able to have this dialogue around credit. And it's one of the most important things that can open the door for a lot of additional assets that you can purchase. So thank you so much.
Love it. You're amazing. We love you.
So we got Shayla Bassey here on Facebook, here live in studio. So if you have any questions about credit repair, go ahead and reach out to her in whichever method. If you want to direct message us, we can maintain and monitor that. Ms. Miller.
This is silly.
I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent. Ms. Miller, thank you so much. Great American Title.
My
Ashley.
pleasure.
Oh, it's not Miller anymore.
Oh, Miller Perkins.
Miller Perkins.
I need to change that. Yeah, Miller Perkins.
Miller Perkins is it. So from all of us here at our Studio Network, thank you. We'll catch you guys next Monday.
Appreciate you.